Hi guys, I'm bringing you today the knee massage, so please subscribe, stay tuned to the end as we do a beautiful affirmation and a movement to bring joy and happiness, which comes with releasing the knees. So see you soon. So first of all, I want to tell you about what the knees mean emotionally and within our ego, if you like. The knees are very much associated with the ego, and that means stubbornness and unwavering obstinacy and not bending, not being flexible and mobile, and therefore not being able to go forward and move forward. Obviously, the knees are associated with bending, and therefore they enable us to run and dance, to be able to stand straight. And what we need to do with our knees is to flex them, even if it's just slightly off lock, in order to give our posture the best possible stature, but also to mean that we will bend in life, we'll be flexible, and we will listen to people with compassion and empathy, that we will understand and listen to other points of view, not just our own all the time. When we don't bend our knees, it means that we are probably harbouring fear, and the fear isn't necessarily recognised within ourselves, and it comes out as obstinacy and unwavering. It can produce swelling in the knee. So if we have water retention in and around the knee, then that can mean that we're holding on to some hurt, which means that we can't move forward. If our knees are inflamed, it probably means that we're irritated or angry and we don't want to give in. If they are dislocated, then a dislocated knee means we no longer want to take the pressure that we have been carrying with us, and they simply give in. So it's almost like the knee is forcing us to give in to a situation. And we may not want to, but it may mean that we have to come round to it if we have a dislocation. I like to see the knees as shock absorbers, just like in a car. So where the ground comes up and down, and whereas it's carrying a heavy load above it, i.e. us. And those shock absorbers, those knees, will allow for the ups and downs of life while we carry the weight of life through with us. And they are the ones that allow flexibility and bending to different situations, and giving in sometimes, surrendering, releasing. And we all have compromise. You know, we talk about a marriage being compromised. Well, actually life is, and to a certain extent, yes, we don't want to give in all the time, but there might be things that we feel strongly about, and it shows that we need to give our views more often, but in a beautiful, tactful, compassionate way, in that we can marry our views with someone else's, and that's that shock absorbing, you know, that's the knee bending in between. Other people's knees bend and our knees bend, and when they don't bend, that's when we get problems with the knees, and that's the stubbornness coming out. But it's not good, because it can create quite bad issues, physical issues with the knees. I see in the clinic all the time. I see lots of people where they say that their knee just suddenly gives in unpredictably. They might be going downstairs or simply just standing, maybe queuing, and their knee gives in. It makes them feel fearful, because that horrible feeling of unpredictability, that you don't know what's going to happen. And when a knee gives in, it could happen at any time, and you think, is this going to happen again? The way to get around that is to start, or to improve our skills on listening to people, on compassion, empathy, on reading about other people's points of view and allowing those points of view into our own lives so that we do marry them with our own wants and needs and opinions. It is about bending, but remember, not bending all the time, otherwise we'll have no knee left to bend with. So yeah, let's try and bring some of that compassion into our own lives. So the next time you have a knee issue or a knee pain, or it's giving in, there's some swelling, maybe it's crunching. You know when you bend your knee sometimes and you've got one hand on the knee and you might feel far more than you can hear or feel inside the knee, you can just feel it with your hand, then that knee needs a little extra help, and maybe that's the early warning sign of something that might rear its head with the knee. So next time this happens, ask yourself, what am I not letting go of? What am I feeling self-righteous about? What giving in do I need to address? Is there something in my life at the moment, work, home, or even personally, that I'm not allowing for? You know, with Louise Hay and all the different parts of the body, there's another book by Deb Shapiro which is fantastic in the same type of belief system where each area of the body actually means something emotionally, psychologically. Then the knees are all to do with moving forward in life, and if we're not bending our knee and allowing, then we're not allowing for our own lives to move forward. It's not like we're giving in to someone else. We need to give in to our own lives as well and let our own life blossom and unfold. So why do we cross our knees? Well, actually there's a lot of body language type of messages that come across when we bend our knees. It can mean that we are protecting ourselves, very defensive. It can mean that we're bored. It can mean that we are not interested in the meeting or the person that we're with. But having said that, far more of us cross our knees these days, ladies and gents, even children. And it's come to mean something more, I feel. It's come to mean that this is an established, social, seated kind of being, and I am taking on a pattern that is very much well recognised and practised in this world, everywhere. There are different ways of crossing the knees, perhaps like so. Apparently in the Western world it tends to be right over left, which I've read, but I think, because I'm left-handed, I think I tend to cross my left over my right. I don't know if any of you guys would agree with that. Apparently the American way is to have one knee crossed at the ankle, like this, so you've got the ankle on the other leg, and then you're either leaning forward or sitting up, and even more, a blocked hold is when you hold both of those hands up, and that's very much defensive, apparently, in that manner. But crossing knees, unfortunately, physically, isn't good for us either, because the knee isn't supposed to be twisted in that manner. If we were to be able to take the whole leg and cross it over, then fair enough. But what happens is, by crossing one knee, it puts a lot of strain, because it's being blocked by the other knee, on a twisted, so torsion kind of effect. Now that's not good for the ligaments, bone, the muscle, tendons, but also in time that will put pressure on the circulation and the lymph circulation that goes through the knee, and at the back of the knee there is an important lymph node. And so by putting pressure on that, perhaps we are stopping that circulation from free flowing. So the more that we can really think about uncrossing our knees, then the better it is for our seated position, and for our communication skills with others, because it means that we're not giving a signal of being blocked to other people, that we're not defending ourselves. You can still defend yourself, but do it psychologically rather than physically. Another thing to think about, if being seated, whether it's at the computer or even watching TV, whether it's working or social, relaxing, then try and sit with a footrest underneath your feet, and you will find that you don't feel the need to cross your knees so often and for so long. So a little footrest under your feet at the right height for your desk, the right height for your knees, so that your legs are at right angles to your body and that the knee is holding the lower leg at right angles to the upper leg. And that is the perfect position for the footrest. This is fantastic for a working position as well, because it allows free flowing of blood, and that will help the blood to your head as well, that you've got all of that lovely concentration and focus for your work. There is no constriction at all. So I'm going to show you now some of the moves for a knee massage. So I've got my right leg in front of me, and you'll notice that I've got it on the couch here. I'm sitting on a squeaky chair, and I'm trying to lengthen the leg and yet relax it at the same time as much as possible. The first move I'm going to do using both of my hands is bringing them up the knee. So I'm starting about mid-calf, coming beyond the knee to about mid-thigh, and then bringing the hands further away from the center point, the anterior point. And then the more I do this, and I'm starting quite gently, I'm coming around to the back. Now let's start at the front again. Nice flat hands. I'm not pressing with my thenar muscle, nor my palm or my fingers. I'm just spreading a nice relaxed hand over the whole length of the knee. Really try and relax your knee while you're doing this. Try not to tense the knee or the calf or the ham and quadriceps at this point. Just relax it as much as possible. Okay, so I've got some smooth leggings on so you can see exactly the shape of the whole area above, below and around the knee. Okay, so this is basically an effleurage. Once we've done that, we're going to bring more our thenar muscle, the base of the hand here, around the knee and up, around the knee and up. So basically outlining the shape of that bone of the knee there. That's great. Okay, coming around the back again, but it's mainly that thenar around that shape of the knee, contouring it. And now I'm going to bring my thumbs around the patella. So nice long movement at first. That's it. Okay. So starting low down below the knee and coming up. So while you're doing this, make sure your leg is relaxed, make sure your back is as straight as possible. I know that's difficult for some because you might find it difficult to lean forward if your back isn't very strong. So be really careful with this. Maybe get someone else to do these contouring moves for you. Just be really careful if you've got any medical reason why you shouldn't be sitting in this manner or massaging your knee at the moment. That feels really good, nice and smooth. Hopefully you should feel increased circulation around there at the moment, warmer and smoother. Okay. So now we're going to be pressing in an upward fashion, like this, pressing with both thumbs, coming upward, pressure, but also, if you like, a caterpillar move. So I'm now at the base of the knee, coming around the sides of the knee. I'm not on the knee bone at all, I'm just coming around it. It's definitely squashier below and above the knee where I am now. And then a few caterpillar moves above. So we're always encouraging a lovely upward and circular motion to encourage that blood and lymph upwards. Beautiful. That feels really good already. If your hands have been working hard, just give them a shake at this moment. Let go of any excess tension. Okay, so now we are going to shift the patella. So if you have managed to have a nice straight leg, and if your patella is feeling healthy today, it should shift nicely. And I quite like to do it between one finger and the other in this fashion. I'm going to do a close-up for you so you can see the action there. I'm shifting it between one index finger to the other. Now the reason I'm doing this is to agitate any toxins that are pooling above and on the edges and below, but definitely behind that patella bone. The patella is quite a flat plate of bone, a bit like the sacrum of the lower back, and by moving it slightly, rocking it and shifting it left and right, that helps shift any of those toxins and lactic acid crystals that are building up behind that knee. And this will really help with mobility and any knee pain. Okay, how's yours doing? Mine's doing good. You know you're going to have to repeat this on the other knee after all of this. Okay, now that squashy bit that's below the knee, just here, I'd like you to bring both thumbs up in a nice circular fashion and massage. Now I'm massaging like a medium pressure. I don't want to hurt myself, I don't want to injure or press too firmly, so I'm just massaging in a medium effect, and then nice circular motion. This is called Petrissage, around the side of the knee and above. Oh, it's lovely and squashy above because this is the start of the quadriceps, and I'm massaging both thumbs together in a sort of circle like this. That's great. How are you doing? And now I'm going to do a seesaw of the muscle above. That squashy muscle that we were just working on, just shifting it left and right. If there's any pain there, be very sensitive to that, just go very lightly. Beautiful. Feels good, hey? Shifting it left and right, you'll notice the difference after this. And now we are going to spread all of the toxins that we've agitated and got moving to the back, because behind the knee here at the lymph node, that will be taking away all the toxins from the leg, from the lower half of the leg as well, because this lymph node here is the nearest one to the lower extremity. There's none around the calf, the ankle and the foot. So by bringing them back up again like this and then shifting them down, so I'm using my thenar muscle, this muscle here, to shift it down, a nice strong wide long muscle. And we're going to bring it down like this. Doing really well there, guys. down and around, down and around. But especially behind the knee. And the next thing we're going to be doing is stimulating. So I'm just going to put my fingers in the back of my knee like this, stimulating that lymph node. So I'm just stimulating it like this. Okay, that's stimulated. So the other thing I wanted to mention was the TFL, which runs down the outside of the thigh. TFL, Tensor Fasciae Latae. Now this long side muscle here does help support the knee, and it helps us with our strength when we're moving forward and with connecting to the hip. So sometimes when we feel that we have weakness and when we're trying to use our muscles, it actually comes across as pain because we're trying to use a muscle that just won't fire. So this Tensor Fasciae Latae, nice long muscle, it has an origin and insertion where the start and the end of the muscle. And what can happen, because that muscle will have little barbs like Velcro sticking itself to the bone at either end, and sometimes those little barbs will slightly raise and come off from that muscle. That can produce, as I say, pain and weakness. So what I do with my clients sometimes is I try a couple of techniques. This muscle is a really good one to try it on. You might want to try at home, but obviously please seek medical advice if there's something you're not sure about, if you've got pain here, recent operation, or long-term injury or ailment that you're not sure whether this is right for you. So please be careful. So what I would do first of all is I would press fairly firmly at the bone on the side of the hip here and also the side of the knee. So find your bone and with all of your fingers together, press quite firmly. It is difficult to do to yourself actually because you're pressing sort of away from yourself. It's not as if it's on the torso. So you may want to get someone else to press for you, but have a go, see how you get on with this. So you want to be pressing for at least 20 seconds. I think that's about right. And relax. And then do the action again that you'd normally find weakness with, and you might find that that is now strong. Failing that, there's another thing you can do, which is actually to rub either side of your thighs really strongly and quite fast. So I'll do this now. I'm going to take my foot off the couch, otherwise the camera is going to be wobbling around. I'll just put it on the chair here. So you want to be rubbing nice and firmly on both sides of the thighs. Get some heat going. Include the whole length of the upper thigh. Down to the knee. So this will help support the knee as well. But yeah, maybe I should have included this in my last video on the upper legs. But here we go, we're including it now because this will help support the knee. And then again, see if the action that is normally weak for you is now stronger. So what that does is help clear the toxins from that muscle and from the side of the thigh, so they go away back into the lymph nodes and away out of you. So it's really good to help clear that area. There are other muscles you can do that with as well that I will show you over time. And finish off with a beautiful knee effleurage. Remember to come around the sides and the back. Wonderful. Oh, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. I'm going to carry on and do the other knee, and you might want to replay this video and make sure you do that other knee as well. Otherwise, you'll be walking around in circles all day. Wonderful. Thank you for joining me. So please subscribe. I'm going to show you next a most beautiful affirmation, so stay tuned. Hi guys, so the most beautiful affirmation for you here. Let's do this together. Standing with your knees slightly off lock so they're nice and soft. By all means do this seated if you prefer. Bringing your hands, fingertips together. And now with a nice long in-breath, breathing in, raising the hands, turning them so that they face the sky, palms upward, and breathing out. And in again as you bring the hands back down in front of you, separating them and palms downwards. That's wonderful. And now the affirmation, joy fills my heart. Joy fills my mind. Joy fills my life. You might want to repeat that 3 times out loud or in your head. And enjoy the wonderful vibration and energy, the feeling that that gives you. Reminding yourself to bring your knees off lock, not just now, but as much as you can in life in order to be flexible and bend with the changes that always happen in life. Thank you so much for joining me. I look forward to bringing you the lower legs next week. Thank you for tuning in and subscribing. Bye guys, let's spread a little healing.